This story is 100% fiction. All elements are imaginary. Coincidences with reality are accidental. But 18. Entertainment only. The veil was crooked. Helena noticed it in the distorted reflection of the tinted car window, but she made no move to fix it. What difference did it make? The first time she wore this dress exactly 17 days ago, she had spent 40 minutes making sure every detail was perfect. The veil centered, the auburn curls cascading exactly as she'd rehearsed. The practiced smile that said, "I'm ready for the rest of my life." And then Derek didn't show up. No, that would be too kind. Derek showed up, just not alone, and definitely not ready to marry her. The image still burned. Her cousin Camilla, red dress too tight for a wedding guest, hand intertwined with his as they both entered through the side door. The whispers, the laughter, the kiss Helena was never supposed to see but did, because she was peeking through the crack in the priest's office door, too anxious to wait. "You can't blame him," Camilla had said afterward, with that condescending tone she'd used since childhood. "You two were promised to each other as children. That's not love, Helena, it's obligation. And Derek, he deserves to choose. He chose." And now her father was making Helena pay for the embarrassment. "We're arriving." Renato Ashford's voice cut through the car's silence like a blade. He didn't even look at her, too busy typing on his phone. "Remember what we discussed. You will smile. You will be polite. You will say yes when they ask." "You mean when they ask if I accept marrying a man I've never seen in my life?" Helena let the acid drip from every syllable. "A mobster?" Finally her father looked up. His eyes were gray and cold, so different from the green eyes she'd inherited from her mother. "Pietro Blackwood is a businessman with armed bodyguards, personal security, and neck tattoos. Artistic expression." Helena let out a dry laugh. "Did you rehearse these answers, or do they come naturally?" The slap didn't come. Not physically, but the expression on Renato's face was worse. That icy contempt she'd known since childhood. "Your mother died when you were 3, he said, tucking the phone into his jacket pocket. "I could have sent you to boarding school and forgotten about you. But no, I raised you, gave you the best education, arranged a fiancé from a respectable family. Who cheated on me with my cousin? That's irrelevant now." The car stopped. Through the glass, Helena saw the facade of an estate that made the Ashford mansion look modest. Wrought iron gates, gardens that seemed designed by Renaissance artists, security personnel at every corner. "What matters is that you will go in there, marry Pietro Blackwood, and save this family's reputation. And if I refuse?" Renato smiled. It was the most terrifying expression Helena had ever seen on his face. "Your grandmother's bakery, the land, the recipes, everything your mother left you. But that's legally still in my name until you turn 25. He leaned in, lowering his voice. "I can turn that place to ashes before sunset, Helena, and you know I would." The air fled from her lungs. Grandma's bakery. The only place where Helena still felt her maternal grandmother's presence. The only person who truly loved her. The lavender walls, the century-old oven, the recipes handwritten in yellowed notebooks. "You wouldn't do that." "Test me." The car door opened. A man in a dark suit waited outside, face impassive. Helena stepped out. Her feet sank slightly into the perfectly trimmed grass as she was led through the gardens. There were more people than she expected. Men in suits in small groups. Elegant women with ostentatious jewelry and calculating glances. All watching, all assessing. The second-hand bride. The ceremony would be in a white marble gazebo, surrounded by red roses. Beautiful, in a sterile way. Nothing like the small garden where she dreamed of getting married, with wildflowers and golden late-afternoon light. "Stop thinking about that," she ordered herself. Not today. The justice of the peace was already waiting. Beside him, a middle-aged woman with graying hair and sharp eyes, probably the groom's mother. A few more men in suits. One who looked too young to be there, with an amused smile that didn't match everyone else's seriousness. And then Helena saw him. Pietro Blackwood wasn't looking at her. He had his back turned, speaking quietly with one of the suited men, one hand in his pocket, the other holding what appeared to be a tablet. His posture said, "I'm too busy for this." Helena should have been relieved, but something about that indifference ignited a spark of rage she didn't know she still possessed. She had been abandoned at the altar by a man who supposedly loved her. Now she was about to marry one who couldn't even bother to turn around and look at her. "Pietro." The gray-haired woman's voice cut through the murmur of conversations. "She's here." He turned. Helena's eyes met his, and for a moment, a single moment suspended in time, the world went silent. Pietro Blackwood had obsidian eyes, black, deep, impossible to read, a jawline that looked sculpted, dark hair impeccably slicked back, and yes, a tattoo climbing up the left side of his neck, something abstract that disappeared under the collar of his white shirt. He was handsome the way a storm was handsome, impressive, but you didn't want to be in its path when it arrived, and he was looking at her like she was a problem, not with desire, not with curiosity, with the same calculating expression someone would use when evaluating a questionable investment. Helena lifted her chin. "You're shorter than I imagined." The words escaped before she could contain them. A shocked silence spread through the gazebo. The gray-haired woman widened her eyes. The young man with the amused smile choked on a laugh. Pietro merely raised an eyebrow. "And you," he said, voice low like velvet over steel, "are more of a redhead. Is that a problem? Redheads are unpredictable. Mobsters are dangerous." Helena shrugged. "Seems like we're even." For a moment, so brief she almost missed it, something glinted in his dark eyes. Surprise, interest, irritation. It vanished before she could identify it. "Donna Eleonora," he said, turning to the gray-haired woman without breaking eye contact with Helena. "I need 5 minutes with my bride." "Pietro, the ceremony." "5 minutes, mother." It wasn't a request. The woman, Eleonora, his mother, the family matriarch, pressed her lips into a thin line, but nodded. With a subtle gesture, she dispersed the guests, giving them privacy. Helena was alone with the dawn. The silence stretched. She could hear her own breathing, the rustle of the wedding dress, the distant footsteps of guests walking away. "You know who I am." It wasn't a question. Pietro Blackwood, head of the Blackwood family, owner of... She hesitated, realizing she didn't know exactly. "Many things. And you know what this marriage means? That my father sold me to protect his reputation?" Something changed in his expression, so subtle Helena almost didn't notice, an almost imperceptible tightening of his jaw. "Your father," Pietro said slowly, "offered me an alliance. I need legitimacy in the circles he frequents. He needs protection against certain consequences of questionable business dealings. Marriage was the simplest way to seal the agreement. And you agreed." "I agreed to evaluate the proposal." He took a step forward. Helena resisted the urge to step back. "Your photo in the contract didn't show this." "This? This?" He gestured vaguely toward her, her entire body apparently. "Your father sent me the photo of a bride. Docile. Appropriate." The black eyes narrowed. "You don't seem docile. Or appropriate. Are you insulting me?" "I'm making an observation." Helena felt the blood rise to her face. 18 years promised to a man who cheated on her. A lifetime under the control of a father who never loved her. And now this, being evaluated like an auction horse. "You know what my observation is?" She raised her chin, facing him head-on. "You're exactly what I expected. Arrogant, controlling, the type of man who thinks he can buy anything. I don't buy people." "No? Then what are you doing here?" "Fulfilling a business agreement." "I'm the business?" Another silence. Longer this time. "You have 2 options, Helena." He pronounced her name in a way that made something strange happen in her stomach. "You can walk into that gazebo, say yes, and become my wife. You'll have protection, resources, freedom, within certain limits. And the second option? You leave. Now. I'll send you anywhere in the world with enough money to start over." He tilted his head. "But you never set foot on Blackwood territory again. Your father deals with the consequences alone. And that bakery you love so much?" His eyes gleamed. "He'll destroy it anyway. You just won't be here to see it." Helena felt the ground waver beneath her feet. "How do you know about the bakery?" "I research my acquisitions." "I'm not an acquisition." "No." For the first time, something that seemed almost human crossed his face. "No, you're not. But your father has treated you like one your whole life. And you're here anyway. So tell me, Helena Ashford." He leaned in, lowering his voice. "What do you want to do?" The question hung suspended between them. What did she want? She wanted her life back. She wanted her grandmother alive. She wanted to have never loved Derek, never believed his promises, never seen the betrayal in Camilla's eyes. She wanted to be the type of person who could simply turn her back and start over. But she wasn't. She was Helena Ashford, daughter of a man who never loved her, motherless since age 3, abandoned bride, heiress to a fortune she couldn't touch, and a dream hanging by a thread. And that dream had lavender walls and a century-old oven. "If I stay," she said slowly, "what happens? You become my wife? Legally, publicly, and privately?" The question hung heavy with implications. Pietro studied her for a long moment. "I don't force women. If something happens between us, it will be because you chose it, not because you were obligated. And if I never choose, then you'll have a nominal husband and a comfortable life." He shrugged, as if it didn't matter. "It's not the worst fate in the world." It wasn't. Helena knew that. Compared to what Derek had done, compared to what her father wanted. "There's one more thing," Pietro said. "If you stay, you'll need to trust me." Helena almost laughed. "Trust you? I just met you." "Exactly." He stepped closer. Now Helena could feel his warmth, see the gray nuances in eyes she'd thought were purely black. "My world is dangerous, Helena. There are people who will want to hurt you just for carrying my name. If you don't trust me, I can't protect you. And if you're the person I need protection from?" The question hung between them. And then Pietro Blackwood did something Helena didn't expect. He smiled. It was small, almost imperceptible, more in the eyes than the lips. But it was there. "Then," he said softly, "you're already smarter than your father imagines." He stepped back, breaking the spell. 5 minutes are up. Make your decision." And he turned his back, walking toward the gazebo, leaving Helena alone with the weight of choices she never asked to make. The veil was still crooked. Helena straightened it, and then, with steady steps that belied the chaos in her heart, she went to marry a stranger. The Blackwood mansion was a cage made of marble and silk. Helena stood in the center of what was now supposedly her bedroom, a suite larger than her grandmother's entire bakery, decorated in shades of cream and gold that screamed old money. The bed could fit 6 people comfortably. The closet was already filled with clothes she'd never chosen. The bathroom had a tub that looked more like a small pool, and the door connecting to Pietro's room remained firmly closed. 3 days. 3 days since she'd said yes in that gazebo, since she'd signed papers she barely read, since she'd become Helena Blackwood on every legal document that mattered. 3 days since her husband had spoken more than 10 words to her. "Welcome to your room. Lucia will attend to your needs. Good night." That was it. The sum total of their interaction as a married couple. Helena had expected coldness. She hadn't expected to be treated like a piece of furniture, present but utterly ignorable. A knock on the door made her turn. Lucia, the housekeeper, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a perpetual expression of someone who'd seen too much, entered with a breakfast tray. "Good morning, Mrs. Blackwood." Helena winced. "Please, just Helena. The Don prefers formal address for family members. The Don can prefer whatever he wants. I prefer Helena." A ghost of a smile crossed Lucia's face. "Breakfast, Helena. And Donna Eleonora requests your presence in the garden room at 10. Helena's stomach tightened. The matriarch. She'd successfully avoided Pietro's mother since the wedding, but apparently her luck had run out. Requests or demands? With Donna Eleonora, there's rarely a difference. The garden room was a glass-enclosed space overlooking the estate's rose gardens. Eleonora Blackwood sat in a high-backed chair like a queen on her throne, silver hair perfectly coiffed, wearing a black dress that probably cost more than Helena's car. Sit, not a request. Helena sat across from her, spine straight, refusing to show intimidation. "You've been hiding in your room for 3 days. Eleonora's voice was cool, measured. "That ends today. I wasn't aware I was hiding. I was under the impression I was being ignored." Something flickered in the older woman's eyes. "Surprise, respect. My son is occupied with business matters. Your son treats me like an unwanted houseguest. You are unwanted." Eleonora said it without malice, simply stating a fact. This marriage was not his choice, it was a necessity. The sooner you understand that, the easier your life here will be. Helena felt the familiar spark of anger. "Then why am I here? If I'm so unwanted, why not let me leave?" "Because you signed a contract. And in this family, contracts are sacred." Eleonora leaned forward slightly. "But more importantly, because my son saw something in you during those 5 minutes before the ceremony. Otherwise, he would have sent you away with a check and never thought of you again." Helena remembered Pietro's small smile. "You're already smarter than your father imagines." What did he see? "That's not for me to say." Eleonora stood, smoothing her dress. "But I will tell you this. Pietro has had women throw themselves at him since he was 16. Beautiful women, powerful women, women who would kill to carry the Blackwood name. He rejected them all. Her gaze sharpened. You're the first one he chose to keep, even if he doesn't know why yet. Before Helena could respond, the door burst open. A young man strode in, the same one from the wedding with the amused smile. Up close, Helena could see the family resemblance. Same dark hair, same sharp jaw. But where Pietro was controlled and cold, this one radiated chaotic energy. Mother, we have a problem. Lorenzo's shipment was intercepted and… He stopped, noticing Helena. The grin returned. Well, well, the mysterious bride emerges. I was starting to think Pietro had locked you in a tower. Marco, Eleonora's voice carried warning. What? I'm being friendly. He extended a hand to Helena. Marco Blackwood, the fun brother, the one our mother wishes she'd had more of, the one who will find himself managing our accounts in Alaska if he doesn't learn discretion. Eleonora cut in. Helena shook his hand. Helena, I know who you are. Everyone knows. Marco's eyes sparkled with mischief. The redhead who called Pietro short to his face. At your own wedding. In front of the entire family. Heat crept up Helena's neck. I didn't call him short. I said he was shorter than I imagined. Same thing. And absolutely legendary. Marco dropped into a chair like he owned the place. I've never seen anyone render my brother speechless. You did it in under 5 seconds. Marco. Eleonora's patience was visibly thinning. The shipment? Right. Business. He sobered slightly. Lorenzo's transport was hit last night. Clean job, professional. No witnesses, no traces. He glanced at Helena, then back at his mother. It has Mercer written all over it. The name landed like a stone in still water. Helena watched Eleonora's expression harden. Where is your brother? Downtown, handling it. Marco stood. He sent me to inform you and to… His eyes flicked to Helena again. Keep an eye on things here. I don't need a babysitter, Helena said. No offense, but you kinda do. Marco's grin returned, but there was something sharper underneath. The Mercers know about the wedding. About you. And they're not exactly sending congratulations cards. Helena's blood chilled. What does that mean? Marco opened his mouth, but Eleonora cut him off. It means nothing you need to worry about. Marco, walk Helena back to her room, and then come find me. We need to discuss security arrangements. The dismissal was clear. Helena stood, anger and fear warring in her chest. I'm not a child, she said quietly. If I'm in danger, I deserve to know. Eleonora studied her for a long moment. Something in her gaze shifted, not quite warmth, but perhaps the beginning of respect. You're right, you do deserve to know, but that conversation is for my son to have with you, when he's ready. And if he's never ready, a ghost of a smile, then you make him ready. If you're half as stubborn as I think you are, it shouldn't take long. Marco walked her back through the labyrinthine hallways, keeping up a steady stream of chatter about the house, the staff, the absolutely ridiculous number of bathrooms. 17, he said. We have 17 bathrooms. There are only 12 people living here. The math doesn't math. Despite everything, Helena felt her lips twitch. Maybe you have a lot of guests? We have a lot of paranoid ancestors who couldn't stand being too far from a toilet. He stopped at her door. Hey, listen. I know my brother can be… a lot. Or actually, the opposite. Not a lot. A void of personality wrapped in expensive suits. That's one way to describe him. But he's not a bad guy. Marco's expression turned serious. He's just not great at… people. Especially people he cares about. He paused. He's been different since the wedding. Distracted. My mother noticed. I noticed. That's not nothing, Helena. She didn't know what to say to that. Marco's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his jaw tightened. I have to go. Security briefing. He backed away. Stay in the main house, okay? Don't wander around alone until we know what the Mercers are planning. Marco. He stopped. What exactly did they do to Lorenzo's shipment? He hesitated. They didn't just take the goods, Helena. They sent a message. 3 of our men are in the hospital. One might not make it. Her blood ran cold. This is what our world looks like, Marco said quietly. I'm sorry you're in it now. But for what it's worth, if anyone can survive it, I think it might be you. He left. Helena stood in the empty hallway, the weight of her new reality pressing down on her shoulders. 3 men hurt, 1 dying, because of a war between families, and she was now in the middle of it, carrying a name that painted a target on her back. The door to Pietro's room remained closed, but for the first time Helena didn't resent the silence. She feared what breaking it might bring. Sleep didn't come easily that night. Helena lay in her silk-sheeted prison, staring at the ceiling, replaying Marco's words. 3 of our men are in the hospital. 1 might not make it. Real people, real blood, real consequences. This wasn't a movie. This was her life now. Around 2 a.m. she gave up on sleep entirely. The mansion was quiet, that heavy, watchful silence of a house with too many secrets. Helena slipped on the robe Lucia had left for her and padded barefoot toward the kitchen. She needed to bake. It was her grandmother's solution to everything. Anxiety, make bread. Heartbreak, chocolate cake. Existential dread about being married to a mob boss, probably croissants. The kitchen was massive. Industrial-grade appliances, marble countertops, enough space to feed an army. Helena found flour, butter, sugar. Her hands moved on autopilot, muscle memory taking over where her conscious mind failed. She was elbow-deep in dough when the voice came from the doorway. "You're supposed to be in your room." Helena didn't jump, didn't turn, just kept kneading. "You're supposed to be ignoring me. Seems we're both off script tonight." Pietro stepped into the kitchen. He'd shed the suit jacket, rolled up his sleeves. The neck tattoo was fully visible now, intricate black lines that curved and twisted like smoke. He looked almost human. Almost. "It's not safe to wander the house at night." He leaned against the counter, watching her work. "We have security protocols." I was hungry. "The kitchen is staffed around the clock. You could have called someone." "I wanted to cook, not be served." Helena finally looked at him. He had shadows under his eyes. When had he last slept? "Why are you awake?" "Work." "At 2 a.m.? Crime doesn't keep business hours." It was such an absurd statement delivered so matter-of-factly that Helena almost laughed. Almost. Is that supposed to be a joke? It's supposed to be the truth. He moved closer, examining the dough she was shaping. "What are you making?" "Brioche. My grandmother's recipe." She paused. "Do you even eat carbs? You look like someone who survives on protein shakes and intimidation." That ghost of a smile again. There and gone. "I eat." Could have fooled me. "I've been here 4 days and I've never seen you at a meal." "I eat in my office. It's more efficient." "It's more lonely." The words slipped out before she could stop them. Pietro went still. The air between them shifted, charged with something Helena couldn't name. "Lonely," he repeated, as if testing the word. "Forget it." She turned back to the dough, cheeks burning. "I'm sure you have very important crime things to get back to." Silence stretched between them. Helena kept her hands moving, refusing to look up, refusing to acknowledge the heat of his gaze on her back. "The Mercers killed one of my men tonight." Helena's hands froze. "Roberto, 26 years old, wife, a daughter on the way." Pietro's voice was flat, controlled, but something darker lurked underneath. "He died 3 hours ago. The doctors couldn't save him." Helena turned slowly. Pietro's face was carved from stone, but his eyes, those obsidian depths, held something that looked almost like grief. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Are you?" It wasn't accusatory, genuinely curious. "You don't know him. You don't know us. You didn't choose this life." "No, but I'm in it now." She wiped flour from her hands. "And just because I didn't choose it doesn't mean I can't feel for the people caught in it." Pietro studied her for a long moment. That calculating look again, but softer somehow. "You're not what I expected, Helena Ashford. Blackwood now, apparently." "Yes." Something flickered across his face. "Blackwood now." The timer on the oven beeped. Helena had preheated it without thinking. She grabbed a baking tray, suddenly needing something to do with her hands. "Why are you really here?" she asked quietly. "And don't say security protocols. You have guards for that." Pietro didn't answer immediately. He moved to the window, looking out into the darkness. "I needed to see that you were real." Helena blinked. "What?" "The past few days. I've been questioning this decision. The marriage. The alliance." He turned to face her. "Your father is a coward and a liar. Every instinct told me to send you away, forget this ever happened. So why didn't you?" "Because of what you said in the gazebo." He stepped closer. "You asked if I was the person you needed protection from. No one has ever asked me that. Not the women who wanted my name. Not the men who wanted my power. Everyone assumes they know what I am. And what are you?" The question hung between them like a challenge. "Dangerous," Pietro said quietly. "But not to you. Never to you." Helena's heart stuttered. She didn't know what to say, how to respond to the intensity in his gaze. The kitchen door swung open. "Boss, we have a situation." Marco stopped dead, taking in the scene. His brother, sleeves rolled up, standing too close to his flour-dusted wife in the middle of the night. A slow grin spread across his face. "Am I interrupting something?" "Yes," Helena said. "No," Pietro said simultaneously. Marco's grin widened. "Cute, really, but we have a problem." The humor drained from his face. "Security caught someone at the east wall. They're not talking, but they had these." He held up an evidence bag. Inside, Helena could see photographs. Photographs of her, walking into the mansion, standing at the window of her bedroom, in the garden room with Eleonora, her face circled in red marker. The brioche dough sat forgotten on the counter. "They're watching me," Helena breathed. "They're sending a message," Pietro corrected. His voice had gone cold. That velvet over steel tone from the wedding, but sharper now. Lethal. "They want us to know they can get to you." "Who is they?" "The Mercers." Marco's jaw was tight. "But there's more. The guy we caught? He's not Mercer muscle, he's freelance. Someone hired him specifically for this job." "Who?" Marco and Pietro exchanged a look. Something passed between them, information Helena wasn't privy to. "We're working on that," Pietro said finally. "That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now." He turned to Marco. "Double the security detail. I want eyes on every entrance, every window. No one in or out without my authorization." "Already done." "Mom's handling the inside team." Pietro nodded, then looked at Helena. Really looked at her, as if seeing her for the first time. "I owe you an apology." Helena blinked. Of all the things she expected him to say, that wasn't on the list. "For what?" "For ignoring you. For treating you like a problem to be managed rather than a person to be protected." He moved closer. "That ends now. From this moment forward, you're not just my wife on paper. You're under my protection. Fully. Completely. I don't need a keeper." "No. But you need to understand something." He picked up one of the photographs. Her face, red circle like a target. "The people who want to hurt me will use you to do it. Not because you matter to me romantically, but because you carry my name. And in my world, that name means everything." Helena took the photograph from his hands. Her own face stared back at her, unknowing, vulnerable. "Then teach me," she said quietly. "Teach you what?" "How to survive your world." She met his eyes. "You said I need to trust you, fine. But trust goes both ways, Pietro. You want me to put my life in your hands? Then stop treating me like a fragile doll and start treating me like a partner." Marco let out a low whistle. "She's got a point, brother. Stay out of this, Marco." "Just saying." "The lady makes a compelling argument." Pietro's jaw tightened. For a moment, Helena thought he would refuse, dismiss her back to her gilded cage, and return to his world of shadows. But then something shifted in his expression. "Tomorrow," he said. 8 a.m. My office. We'll start with the basics. Who the players are, what territories we hold, what threats we face." He paused. "And for the record, calling me short at our own wedding was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever witnessed. Which one are you going with?" "I haven't decided yet." But there was warmth in his voice. Faint, buried, but present. "Now finish your brioche, Helena, and then go back to your room. I'll have guards posted outside your door. I don't need... Humor me?" He was already heading for the door, Marco on his heels. But he paused at the threshold, looking back. "One more thing." "What?" "Save me a piece. I haven't had fresh brioche since my father died." And then he was gone, leaving Helena alone with her dough, her photographs, and the strange fluttering in her chest that she refused to name. She baked until dawn. When Lucia came down at 6 a.m., she found the kitchen spotless, a perfect golden brioche cooling on the counter, and a handwritten note, for Pietro. "Don't say I never gave you anything." H.E. Pietro's office was nothing like Helena expected. She'd imagined dark wood, leather chairs, perhaps a mounted animal head or two, the stereotypical mob boss aesthetic she'd seen in movies. Instead, she found herself in a sun-flooded room with floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, and walls lined with books. Real books. Philosophy, economics, military strategy, and, surprisingly, an entire shelf dedicated to Italian poetry. Pietro sat behind a sleek modern desk, tablet in hand, looking like a CEO rather than a crime lord. The empty brioche plate sat beside his laptop. "You're early," he said without looking up. "You're eating carbs." Helena dropped into the chair across from him. "I'm shocked." It was good brioche. He finally looked at her, and something in his expression made her stomach flip. My father used to say you could judge a person's character by their bread. Too dense, they're hiding something. Too light, they lack substance. And mine? Perfect balance. He set the tablet down, which means you're either exactly who you seem to be or very good at pretending. Maybe I'm just good at baking. Maybe. He gestured to a folder on the desk. Let's begin. The next 3 hours were a crash course in organized crime. Pietro walked her through the Blackwood family tree, generations of power, carefully cultivated alliances, strategically broken enemies. He explained their legitimate businesses, real estate, restaurants, a construction empire that spanned 3 states. Then he explained the other side, protection, gambling, and certain imports that never appeared on any official manifest. We don't traffic drugs, he said flatly, or people. Those are lines my father drew and I will never cross them. But everything else is fair game. Everything else is survival. He pulled up a map on his tablet. The city divided into colored territories. Red is Blackwood. Blue is our allies. And this, he pointed to the black sections encroaching from the east, is Mercer. They're growing. Aggressively. Vincent Mercer has been expanding for 2 years. He's already absorbed 3 smaller families. Pietro's jaw tightened. He wants what we have. Our ports. Our political connections. Our name. And the photographs. Me being watched. Intimidation. Vincent's favorite opening move. Pietro closed the tablet. But there's something else. Something that doesn't fit the pattern. The freelancer. Exactly. Vincent has his own people. Loyal, well-trained, disposable. He doesn't hire outside contractors. Pietro's eyes met hers. Someone else is involved. Someone who wants to hurt you specifically, not just the Blackwood family. The implication settled like ice in Helena's chest. You think someone hired them, separately from the Mercers. I think the Mercers are convenient cover for someone with a personal grudge. He leaned forward. Helena, I need you to think. Who would want to hurt you? Before me, before this marriage? Who did you make an enemy of? The answer came immediately. Unbidden. Unwanted. Derek. No. That was insane. Derek was weak, selfish, a cheater. But a would-be murderer? The boy she'd loved since childhood? No one, she said. But her voice wavered. Pietro noticed. Of course he noticed. You're lying. I'm not. Helena. His voice softened unexpectedly. I can't protect you from threats I don't know about. If there's someone from your past, someone who might want revenge, I need to know. She closed her eyes. The memory surfaced against her will. Derek's face when he realized she'd seen him with Camilla. Not guilt, not shame. Rage. Like she'd stolen something from him by witnessing his betrayal. My ex-fiancé, she whispered. Derek Holloway. The one who left you at the altar. The one whose family lost everything when he didn't marry me. Helena opened her eyes. The Holloways needed the Ashford alliance. When Derek chose Camilla, my father cut them off completely. Last I heard, they were bankrupt. Derek's father had a heart attack from the stress. And Derek blames you. Derek blames everyone but himself. She laughed bitterly. He sent me messages after the wedding. After our wedding, I mean. Calling me a whore for marrying you so quickly. Saying I'd ruined his life. Pietro's expression had gone dangerously still. You didn't think to mention this? I thought he was just being pathetic. Derek is all talk. He's never been... She stopped. He's never been violent. But he's never been desperate before either. Pietro was already on his phone. Marco, I need everything on Derek Holloway. Financials, location, associates. Especially any connection to the Mercer family. A pause. Yes, now. He hung up and looked at Helena with an intensity that made her breath catch. From now on, you tell me everything. Every message, every threat, every bad feeling. Understood? I'm not a child. No, you're a target. He stood moving around the desk until he was in front of her. And I failed you by not asking these questions sooner. That won't happen again. Helena stood too, refusing to let him tower over her. You didn't fail me. You don't even know me. I know you bake when you can't sleep. I know you stand up to people twice your size. I know you love your grandmother's memory more than your own safety. He was close now, close enough that she could see the individual threads of silver in his dark eyes. I know enough. The air between them crackled. Pietro. The door burst open. Marco, looking uncharacteristically serious, holding a tablet. You need to see this. Now. Pietro took the tablet. Whatever he saw made his face go blank. that terrifying emptiness that meant he was containing something volcanic. "What is it?" Helena asked. He turned the screen toward her. It was a photograph. Derek standing beside an older man she didn't recognize. They were shaking hands in what looked like a restaurant. The older man had silver hair, cold eyes, and a smile that didn't reach them. "That's Vincent Mercer," Pietro said quietly. "And this photo was taken 3 days before our wedding." Helena's world tilted. Derek? Her Derek. The boy who'd braided daisy chains in her hair when they were 7. The man who'd sworn to love her forever, working with the people who wanted her dead. "It gets worse," Marco said grimly. "We traced the freelancer's payment, shell company after shell company, but we finally found the source." He looked at Helena with something like pity. The money came from a trust fund, in Camilla Ashford's name, her cousin, the woman who'd stolen her fiancé, her own blood. Helena sat down heavily, legs refusing to hold her. "They're working together," she breathed. "Derek and Camilla. They planned this. They planned something," Pietro corrected. "We're still piecing together what. They want me dead. They want you scared." Pietro crouched in front of her, forcing her to meet his eyes. "There's a difference. If they wanted you dead, they would have tried by now. This is intimidation. Psychological warfare. Why? Because dead, you're useless to them. Alive and terrified?" His jaw tightened. "You might run, might beg your father to annul the marriage, might give them leverage against me. I would never." "I know." And the certainty in his voice made something crack open in Helena's chest. "But they don't know you. They see a scared girl sold to a monster. They don't see what I see." "What do you see?" Pietro studied her for a long moment. Then, slowly, deliberately, he reached out and tucked a strand of auburn hair behind her ear. "A woman who called me short at her own wedding and then baked me brioche at 3 a.m. His lips curved, that almost smile she was beginning to crave. "They have no idea what they're dealing with." Helena felt tears threatening and blinked them back furiously. "So what do we do?" Pietro stood, extending his hand to her. She took it, let him pull her to her feet. "We do what Blackwoods do best." His grip was warm, steady, an anchor in the storm. "We make them regret ever crossing us." "How?" "First, we let them think they're winning. Let Derek and your lovely cousin believe their little plan is working." His smile turned sharp, predatory. "And then, at the moment they feel most confident, we destroy them." Marco grinned from the doorway. "I love it when he gets dramatic." "Shut up, Marco. Just saying. The villain monologue is strong today." Helena surprised herself by laughing. A choked, slightly hysterical sound, but genuine. The absurdity of it all. Her ex-fiancé plotting with mobsters. Her cousin funding surveillance. Her mob boss husband planning revenge while his little brother made jokes. "I need to process this," she said. I don't know what I need. You need to get out of this house." Marco pushed off the door frame. "When's the last time you saw sunlight that wasn't through a window?" "Marco," Pietro warned. "What?" "She's been locked up for days. Take her somewhere. Get gelato. Do normal people things." He shrugged. "If the Mercers want to watch, let them watch you living your life. Nothing pisses off an enemy like seeing their target happy." Pietro looked like he wanted to argue, but then his gaze fell on Helena. Really looked at her, at the shadows under her eyes, the tension in her shoulders. "Fine," he said quietly. "Grab a jacket. We're going out." Helena blinked. "We? You didn't think I'd let you go alone?" He was already moving toward the door. "Besides, I know a place with the best gelato in the city. My mother would never forgive me if I let you settle for less." Marco caught Helena's eye and mouthed, "He never takes anyone there." She didn't know what to do with that information. But as she followed Pietro Blackwood out of his office, into the sunlight, into the terrifying unknown of her new life, she realized something had shifted. She was no longer just the rejected bride. She was becoming something else entirely. And maybe, just maybe, so was he. The gelato shop was hidden, tucked away in a narrow alley that Helena would have walked past 100 times without noticing. It had no sign, no storefront display, just a weathered wooden door, and the faint smell of vanilla wafting through the cracks. "This is it?" Helena looked skeptical. "Your legendary gelato place looks like a drug front." "That's the point." Pietro held the door open. "Best things in life aren't advertised." Inside was another world. Warm lighting, exposed brick, glass cases filled with colors Helena didn't even have names for. An elderly man behind the counter looked up, and his weathered face split into a genuine smile. Pietro Blackwood. It's been too long. Sal. Pietro actually smiled back. A real one, reaching his eyes. Helena had never seen him look so young. I brought someone to meet you. Sal's gaze shifted to Helena, and his eyebrows rose. The new bride. I heard rumors. Don't believe everything you hear. I heard she called you short. Pietro's smile twitched. Believe that one. Sal laughed, a warm rolling sound, and came around the counter to take Helena's hands in his. His grip was rough with age, but gentle. Welcome to the family, Bella. Anyone who can humble this one, he jerked his head toward Pietro, is already family to me. Thank you. Helena found herself smiling. He's not that bad. Give it time. Sal winked. Now, what flavors speak to you? 20 minutes later, Helena sat across from Pietro at a tiny corner table, working through what might have been the best pistachio gelato in existence. He had ordered stracciatella. Classic, understated, exactly what she would have predicted. You're different here, she observed. Different how? Lighter, like you're actually breathing. Pietro paused, spoon halfway to his mouth. Sal knew my father. Used to bring me here as a kid before he trailed off, before he died, before I became what I am. He set the spoon down. This place reminds me that I wasn't always the Don, that there was a version of me who just wanted gelato and didn't have to check for exits in every room. Helena felt something shift in her chest. This man, this dangerous, controlled, infuriating man, had depths she was only beginning to glimpse. Do you miss him? The boy you were? Sometimes. His dark eyes met hers. Do you miss the girl you were? Before Derek? Before your father's machinations? The question caught her off guard. Did she miss that Helena? The one who believed in love, in promises, in happy endings? I miss her naivety, she admitted, not her blindness. There's a difference. Naivety is not knowing the world can hurt you. Blindness is refusing to see it even when it does. She stirred her gelato absently. I was blind about Derek, saw every red flag, and convinced myself they were decorations. Love does that. Did you ever... She stopped, unsure if she had the right to ask. Love someone? Pietro leaned back. Once, a long time ago. Helena felt an irrational spike of something that definitely wasn't jealousy. What happened? She wanted the fairy tale, the white picket fence, the normal life. His voice was matter-of-fact, but something darker lurked underneath. I couldn't give her that. So she left. Married an accountant. Has 3 kids in Connecticut now. Do you regret letting her go? I regret making her believe I could be something I wasn't. His gaze held hers. That's why I was honest with you from the start, Helena. No pretense. No false promises. Just a business arrangement. It started that way. He paused, something shifting in his expression. I'm not sure what it is now. The air between them thickened. Helena became acutely aware of how close they were, how the warm light caught the sharp planes of his face, how his eyes had gone from obsidian to something warmer, almost amber. Pietro. His phone shattered the moment. He glanced at the screen, and his entire demeanor changed. Walls slamming back into place, the dawn returning in an instant. We need to go. Now. What's wrong? He was already standing, throwing bills on the table, grabbing her hand. Marco found Derek. He's at your grandmother's bakery. Helena's blood turned to ice. The bakery looked exactly as she remembered. Lavender walls, faded but proud. The hand-painted sign, Nonna's Kitchen, still hanging above the door. The windows were dark, but she could see movement inside. 3 black SUVs were already parked outside when they arrived. Marco stood by the lead vehicle, expression grim. He's alone, Marco reported, but he's been in there for 20 minutes. We don't know what he's doing. He's sending a message, Pietro said coldly. Same as the photographs. Same as everything else. He turned to Helena. Stay in the car. Absolutely not. Helena, that's my grandmother's legacy in there. My mother's memory. She was already moving toward the door. If anyone's confronting him, it's me. Pietro caught her arm. This could be a trap. Then spring it. She met his eyes unflinching. You said you wanted a partner, not a doll. Partners don't hide in cars. For a tense moment, she thought he would physically stop her. Then something flickered in his gaze. Respect, maybe, or recognition of a battle he couldn't win. Stay behind me. If anything happens, you run. Understood? She nodded, not trusting her voice. They approached the bakery together, Pietro's men fanning out around the perimeter. The door was unlocked. Of course it was. Derek wanted them to come in. The interior was exactly as Helena remembered, but wrong. Chairs overturned, flour scattered across the floor. Her grandmother's recipes, those precious, irreplaceable notebooks, torn and scattered like confetti. And in the middle of it all, Derek Holloway sat on the counter, swinging his legs like a child. There she is. He grinned, but there was nothing friendly in it. My beautiful, almost wife. Took you long enough. Helena felt Pietro tense beside her, felt the violence coiled in every line of his body, but he didn't move. This was her fight. What are you doing here, Derek? Visiting old memories. He hopped off the counter, glass crunching under his shoes. Remember when you used to bake here? When we were kids and you'd sneak me cookies and we'd plan our perfect future? That future died when you chose my cousin. I didn't choose her. Derek's grin faded, replaced by something uglier. I was trying to make you jealous, to make you fight for me. But instead you just gave up, ran to the first man who offered. First man who... Helena laughed incredulously. You left me at the altar, Derek, in front of 300 people. My father sold me to a stranger because you destroyed our family's alliance. Your father was going to ruin me anyway. Derek's composure cracked, revealing the petulant boy underneath. Do you know what happened after you married him? My family lost everything. My father is dead because of you. Your father died because of his own choices. He died because you couldn't keep your legs closed long enough to... Derek didn't finish the sentence. One moment he was standing. The next he was on the ground. Pietro's forearm pressed against his throat, that cold voice cutting through the chaos. Finish that sentence, I dare you. Derek's eyes bulged. You can't. This is assault. This is a conversation. Pietro's voice was terrifyingly calm. And you're going to tell me exactly what Vincent Mercer offered you to terrorize my wife. I don't know what you're... The pressure on his throat increased. Derek gasped. I have photographs of you shaking hands with him. I have financial records linking your cousin to the surveillance operation. I have a dying man's confession naming you as the one who ordered the hit on my shipment. Pietro leaned closer. So let me ask again. What did Mercer offer you? Helena watched, frozen, as the boy she'd once loved crumbled. Money, Derek choked out. Position. He said if I helped him take down the Blackwoods, he'd give me everything your family took from mine. And Helena? What was the plan for her? Just scare her. Make her run. Destabilize you. And if she didn't run? Silence. If she didn't run, Derek, then we'd escalate. The word hung in the air like a death sentence. Escalate how? Helena heard herself ask. Derek's eyes darted to her, and for a moment, just a moment, she saw genuine fear, not of Pietro, of something else. Camilla wanted... He swallowed. She said if intimidation didn't work, we'd have to remove you permanently. Make it look like an accident. Mercer agreed to. Pietro hit him. One clean strike that knocked Derek unconscious instantly. Helena couldn't breathe. Her cousin, her own blood, had planned to kill her. Helena! Pietro was in front of her suddenly, hands on her shoulders, dark eyes searching her face. Look at me. Breathe. She wanted me dead. Helena whispered. Camilla wanted me dead. She won't touch you. No one will touch you. His grip tightened. I swear on my father's grave, Helena. Anyone who tries will answer to me. She should have been terrified. Should have been running as far from this violent world as possible. Instead, she stepped forward, pressed her forehead to his chest and let herself fall apart. Pietro's arms came around her. Stiff at first, uncertain, like he'd forgotten how to hold someone. Then slowly, gradually he softened. His chin rested on top of her head. His hand moved in careful circles on her back. They stood there, in her grandmother's ruined bakery, surrounded by destruction, and somehow, impossibly, Helena felt safe. I'm going to rebuild this place, she said against his chest. What? The bakery. I'm going to restore it. She pulled back enough to meet his eyes. And you're going to help me. Pietro blinked. I don't bake. Then you'll learn. She wiped her eyes, something fierce rising in her chest. Derek wanted to destroy my grandmother's memory. Camilla wanted to erase me entirely. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to make this place better than ever. Together. For a long moment, Pietro just stared at her. Then slowly, that almost smile she was learning to love curved his lips. You're insane. Probably. She smiled back, watery, but real. But you married me anyway. I did. He tucked her hair behind her ear, the gesture becoming familiar. And I'm starting to think it was the smartest decision I ever made. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. Inside, something new had begun. 3 weeks changed everything. Derek's confession unraveled the Mercer conspiracy like a pulled thread. Names, dates, locations. He gave up everything in exchange for protection from Vincent's inevitable retaliation. Marco called it pathetic. Pietro called it useful. Helena called it justice. Camilla was arrested trying to flee to Mexico, her trust fund frozen, her society friends suddenly unable to remember her name. The photographs of her in handcuffs made the front page of every tabloid in the city. Socialite heiress, arrested in murder for hire plot. Helena didn't feel satisfaction. She felt tired, and strangely, impossibly free. But Vincent Mercer was still out there. He's gone underground, Marco reported during their morning briefing. The war room, because of course the Blackwoods had a war room, was filled with maps, photographs, intelligence reports. Our sources say he's planning something big, a final move. He's desperate, Pietro said. Desperate men make mistakes. Desperate men also do stupid, violent things. Eleonora sat at the head of the table, silver hair gleaming. We need to end this before someone else gets hurt. Helena listened, absorbing information, asking questions when she didn't understand. 3 weeks of these meetings had taught her more about the Blackwood operation than she'd ever expected to know. She understood the territories now, the alliances, the delicate balance of power that kept the city from descending into chaos. She also understood her husband. Pietro Blackwood was not the monster the world believed him to be. He was something far more complex, a man who carried the weight of generations on his shoulders, who made impossible choices to protect the people he loved, who had built walls so high he'd forgotten there was anything on the other side. Until her. She caught him watching her sometimes when he thought she wasn't looking. Those obsidian eyes softened in ways she doubted anyone else ever saw. He brought her coffee without being asked, remembered how she took it. Black, 1 sugar, a habit from late nights at culinary school. He asked about the bakery renovations, actually listened when she described her plans. And every night, that door between their rooms remained closed. Helena was starting to hate that door. The attack came at dawn. Helena woke to alarms, shouting, the thunder of footsteps in the hallway. Before she could process what was happening, Pietro burst through. Not the connecting door, but her main entrance, already dressed, gun in hand. Get up, now. What's happening? Mercer's making his move. He grabbed her arm, pulling her toward the hall. The east wall is breached. We're evacuating. The next minutes were chaos. Guards everywhere. Eleonora barking orders. Marco coordinating defense teams through his earpiece. Helena was passed from person to person like a precious package, always moving, never stopping. They made it to the garage, an underground bunker filled with armored vehicles, when the lights went out. Emergency generators kicked in seconds later, bathing everything in red. He cut the power, Marco hissed. Bastard planned this. Alternate route, Pietro ordered. Tunnel system, now. They ran. The tunnels beneath the Blackwood estate were ancient, built by paranoid ancestors who'd prepared for exactly this scenario. Helena's bare feet slapped against cold stone as she followed Pietro through the darkness, his hand never leaving hers. They emerged in a warehouse 3 blocks away. Safe house, she realized, one of many. Stay here. Pietro's face was carved from stone. Marco's team will protect you. I'm going back. Like hell you are. Helena, you said we were partners. She grabbed his shirt, forcing him to look at her. Partners don't abandon each other. This isn't abandonment. This is protection. This is you running toward danger while I hide like a coward. Her voice cracked. I can't lose someone else, Pietro. I can't watch another person I care about walk away and never come back. The words hung between them. Someone I care about. Pietro's expression shifted. Something crumbled behind those dark eyes. The last wall. The final defense. Helena. Her name on his lips was a prayer. If something happens to me, nothing is going to happen to you. She was crying now. Tears she didn't give herself permission to shed. Because you're going to take your damn army, stop Vincent Mercer and come back to me. That's an order. A ghost of a smile. You're ordering the dawn? Someone has to. He kissed her. Not gentle, not tentative. This was desperation and revelation. Weeks of tension finally breaking like a dam. His hands cupped her face like she was precious, breakable, worth protecting. She kissed him back with everything she had, all the fear, all the hope, all the terrifying possibility of a future she'd never dared imagine. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Pietro pressed his forehead to hers. "I'm coming back," he said quietly. "For you. Only for you. Promise me." "I promise." He kissed her once more. Brief, fierce, a seal on his words. "And when I do, we're having a conversation about that door between our rooms." Despite everything, Helena laughed. "I thought you'd never ask." The battle for the Blackwood territory lasted 6 hours. Helena spent every minute in that warehouse, surrounded by guards, glued to Marco's radio updates. She learned to read between the lines. Holding position meant under fire. Advancing meant casualties on both sides. Package secure meant another piece of Mercer's operation dismantled. At 2:47 p.m., Marco's voice crackled through the speaker. "It's over. Vincent Mercer is in custody. We won." Helena didn't realize she'd stopped breathing until air rushed back into her lungs. "Casualties?" she heard herself ask. "Minimal. Few injuries. Nothing fatal." A pause. "The boss is fine. Barely a scratch. He's already demanding to know if you're okay." "Tell him," her voice broke. "Tell him to come home." Pietro arrived at the warehouse an hour later. He was covered in dust, a cut on his cheek, exhaustion written in every line of his body. But he was alive. Whole. Here. Helena threw herself at him before he'd fully cleared the doorway. His arms caught her, held her, lifted her off her feet like she weighed nothing. She felt him bury his face in her hair, felt the shudder that ran through his body. Release. Relief. Something deeper. "I told you I'd come back," he murmured against her ear. "I know." She pulled back enough to see his face, to touch the cut on his cheek. "You're hurt." "It's nothing. It's something." She kissed the corner of the wound, gentle as a whisper. "Everything about you is something, Pietro." His eyes darkened in a way that had nothing to do with danger. "Say that again." "Everything about you." He kissed her words away. 1 year later, the bakery was unrecognizable. Gone were the faded lavender walls, replaced by a richer purple that Helena's grandmother would have loved. The century-old oven had been restored, not replaced. Pietro had found a specialist in Italy who'd spent 3 months bringing it back to life. New display cases gleamed under warm lighting. The hand-painted sign now read, "Nonna's Kitchen, Esther 1952, restored with love." Helena stood behind the counter, wearing an apron dusted with flour, watching the morning rush. Families with children, couples on dates, businessmen grabbing coffee, regular people, living regular lives, completely unaware that the woman serving their croissants was married to the most powerful man in the city. That was exactly how Helena wanted it. The bell above the door chimed. Pietro walked in wearing his usual 3-piece suit, looking completely out of place and utterly at home. "Mrs. Blackwood." He leaned over the counter to kiss her, something he did every morning, without fail. "How's business?" "Booming." She handed him his usual order, black coffee, pistachio croissant. "How's crime?" "Boring." He smiled, a real smile, one that reached his eyes, one she saw every day now. "Turns out eliminating your main rival leaves a lot of paperwork." "Poor baby. Want me to bake you a sympathy cake?" "I want you to come home early." His voice dropped, intimate despite the public setting. "I have plans for tonight." "What kind of plans?" He produced a small velvet box from his pocket. Helena's heart stopped. "We got married for business," Pietro said quietly. "Strangers at an altar, contracts and alliances. But somewhere along the way, you became the best decision I ever made." He opened the box. Inside was a ring, not her original wedding band, but something new. A ruby surrounded by diamonds, red as her hair, brilliant as her spirit. "I want to do it again. Properly this time." "Will you marry me, Helena? Not for our families, not for alliance, just for us?" Helena was crying. Again. She really needed to stop doing that. "Yes," she managed. 1,000 times yes. He slid the ring onto her finger, right next to the original band. 2 rings, 2 promises, 1 future. The customers were staring. Someone started clapping. Helena didn't care. She kissed her husband, her partner, her protector, her unexpected love, and tasted forever. Later, Marco would complain about not being invited to the proposal. Eleonora would immediately begin planning a second ceremony, bigger and grander than the first. The tabloids would run stories about the mob boss and his bakery queen. But in that moment, surrounded by the smell of fresh bread and the warmth of morning light, Helena Blackwood only knew one thing. She had walked into an arranged marriage expecting a cage. Instead, she'd found a home, and she would defend it, flour-dusted hands and all. for the rest of her life. The end.